Sabatism, star worship. The Nibiru are those true stars and we are the sons and daughters of them. To us in ancient Tamare Pa Natstaru were stars, and stars are at the center or core of astrophysics, being obsessed with both birth and death of our Natstaru, who are stars set in dark matter. Read the Master's secret, the black dot. They are the very stars that send light to Re as the sun of all life in this realm, and without it would be the death of the body. 1. Wu-Nupu right knowledge. 2. Asa Nupu right wisdom. 3. Naba Nupu right understanding. Wu-Sabat can be tested through experience, evidence and reason. While study, observation and practice will help one elevate. Wu-Sabat promotes critical thinking and uses many different scientific methods to enhance one's understanding of the rules of matter and energy in the natural world, which includes the supernatural world or world of spirits. Wu-Sabat brings about full comprehension, as it is the science of science and the science in science. A spiritual science or the science of energy. I as a Niger must let my voice be heard in the Pata Nun, earth, again. I am Re-A, who is Amun Naba Bre-A Akek Pata Jeti the Tum or Nigeratum Re-A. I am that I am, Ea Asher Ea, Anunnaqi Paf Anunnaqi. I will be what I will be. What are your works? I as a Niger through my rays of light grow them into Nibiru. Gods out of Mother Earth. Each becoming a Niger as myself. I take men, light known, and women darkness mystery, mere mortals, and make them into Nibiru gods at the end of a 24,000-year cycle, a reformer, an avatar or Ilamuta Jasada, an incarnation called Amunug Riak Bata to renew our story, to bring in the cycle of Re-A, Ra/Re. One must be sent, to prepare a way that one is me Yaa-Nun. What is 9 ether? 9 ether is all conscious and conscience gases in existence. No power, energy or force can be more powerful than 9 ether, as it is the combination of all energy, power and gases that exist. All light, all color, all sound, all persons, all places, all things, all time, all matter, all space, which equals Pa. 9 ether is a life force and a creative force. What is 6 ether? 9 ether produces 6 ether, and 6 ether produces ghost. 9 ether becomes 6 ether through time and age. 6 ether is 9 ether in death, and ghost is the death of 6 ether. After the death of 6 ether, called the moon or ghost cycle, 9 ether rises again. So 6 ether is adverse to 9 ether as life is adverse to death. 6 ether evolutionary forces is ether with less gases than 9 ether. Therefore, it has a different nature to 9 ether. 6 ether is a death force and destructive. Death is to change in form or composition or both. What is ghost ether? Ghost ether is conscience gases with less various gases than 6 ether, making it a weaker gas combination than 6 ether, just as 6 ether is weaker than 9 ether. When 6 ether reaches its climax in evolution, it produces ghost, and ghost is God. Like Huam A Marura Karudu SABAT-U. The Mahmam humanoid beings of Aldebaran, Aldebaran pale skin, blonde fur, blue or gray eyes, made a home base in Sa'atat Orion and came back and forth to the planet Earth. To the Nordic type, who are made by the Kama-U Pleiadians, who also had a base in Aldebaran. Tall Mahmam humanoid beings from Kamahat Pleiades, 7 stars, suns, system with transparent fur, transparent skin, pale white and transparent pale white eyes, are flesh eaters. These beings worked under Pa-Za-Ofu the reptiles, or Pa-Mu-Za-Ofu the reptilians, originally from Draco's star, suns, system. All these and other beings came to the Kawak Taha Kawak planet Earth over the many thousands of years. Some lived on land, others lived inside cavern, and some beneath the water, while some stayed in crafts above. In the caverns are many tunnels that were made and are being found today. And you had the Anunnaqi who came seeking gold. All was under rules of respect by the Nibiru, divine ones who ruled Orion and Sirius by way of other star system, also called Merzakul, Razakoriskians of Alayun of the 19th parallel universe to this one. The most disobedient and rebellious was just one group of the reptilians. There are many species of reptilians, but 3 main ones came to this planet Earth seeking food of a certain nature. Now SABAT-U Sabians, you are what you eat, and their nature called for Da'u evil-spirited creatures to eat. It would be the same as seeking wild beast for food, such as canines, wolves, felines, lions, grizzly bears. Those who were carnivorous for the nature in them, the wild. They needed the flesh and blood, and best when the adrenaline is at its highest from fear, terror, and fright to them, that is when it tastes its best. So over time, Pa-Mu-Za-Ofu the evil reptilians evolved on this planet, as well as the near Draconis, the brightest star in the aptly named serpentine-shaped constellation of Draco, a Latin, Roman word for dragon. Draco is circumpolar, it never sets. For those who look or observes in the northern hemisphere's night sky. It was one of the 48 constellations listed by the 2nd century astronomer the Greek Egyptians Ptolemy, and to date is still one of the now recorded 88 modern constellations. Yes, SABAT-U Sabians, the 88 is related to the 88 keys on complete keys on a piano for the tones. So, in time these two reptilians from these two vastly distant planets, Earth and one helped other star systems while the other went to Andromeda with insect-looking beings to breed greys. To use to invade other planets for food of a nature they also ate some of the grey species. So, you had agreeables and disagreeables. Musafu, evil, reptilians, Mudganu, good, reptilians. Both would come to this planet for their own reasons and purposes. Anunnaqi was mixed with humanoids and reptilians. Some were under the Rizkians, others joined and ruled the Kamahu, Mukmalta Pleiadians, who became two species as well. As the Anunnaqi became two species as well. Later in the Bible these became angelic species. In all they became the deities, God, gods, Lord, lords, angels, devils. In Hebrew, Arabic, Greek, Latin and sub-dialects but the same beings. The Bible and the Quran are of the same extraterrestrials. Many titles, names attribute, but they had offsprings male and female. Hebrew El-Shaddai, Arabic Quran, the Mighty One, the exact same being. Most religious persons today have a trance cast over them to make them forget the past. It's called amnesia. To be forgetful, forgot. They don't remember that they worship beings from the star system above with it right in the Bible, Job 9:9, Job 38:31, Amos 5:8 and the Quran 53:49. Yet they don't see it, or the many times it says they came down to earth and raised up to heaven from where to where they can't seem to see while under a spell of faith. Sabians, the two Za'afu evil reptiles that dog and you good reptilian species evolved. They replaced it with astrology. This was known to the overlords of Draconian Reptilian that one Pa Musafu the evil reptilians was or is evil and wicked spirited by their very nature, a warrior species very deceptive and manipulative as you see in Enlil. While the other Mudganu good reptilians the earthly reptoids were peaceful, good-hearted as you see in Enki. The Musafu evil reptilians draconians were so devolved that like the insects of Andromeda and Arcturians they were very carnivorous. These Musafu evil reptilians had a need or have a need to eat meat, flesh and drink blood. They had a need for solid foods and developed the ability to ingest their nutrients through pure energies of the spirit of their prey, also called Sham-Gal, who were of the Iram or Pa Mushadju the Watchers. You find recorded in the book of Enoch. 1 Enoch 6-7-8 the head of the 200 fallen ones, Shamyaza, Samael, Shemyazas, Semenza with many names and titles. The fallen angels mixed with Adamite women Genesis 6:1-5. 40. As recorded in their holy book of Daniel 4:17 the teachers of evil 1 Enoch 9-5-14, 1 Enoch 10:12-13, 18-20, 7-1-14 these beings worked with the reptilians in the making of a man called Adam, the pale race, with the DNA of the Mukmahu Pleiadians 6,000 years ago who also had 46 chromosomes. To become workers, slaves and food, Lulu Amilu. Yet Sabians, let's get back to the reptilians and reptoids. Pa Musafu the evil reptilians learned to shape-shift from Pa Mukmahu the Pleiadians and are now, or up to 2000 AD on planet Earth in humans' forms. They are taking over governments one by one, but the now Mukmahu Pleiadians have been exposed to many, yet many still don't or won't accept these facts. Their lust for frightened animals and human flesh, a race they bred for just that. The offspring of the Adamite women and the Nephalu Nephilim, their hunger was much too great, so they turned on their own to kill and eat. It had to be Da'u evil energy source like themselves. So, in order to survive they must ingest pure jawed wicked Da'u evil spirit energy 6 etheric blood and flesh unnatural nature energy. And it is this fact alone that turned simple self-preservation into grafting a group of greys, for their evil agenda, used in abductions, testing and breeding with Mamanu humanoids. In order to survive here on this planet, they must interbreed every 400-year cycle to 100 years. So, they created a group of alien greys as their slave species, cloned as a source for nutrition after breeding with the Adamites in the last 2,000 of the 6,000 years. 2,000 years ago, was a seed transported to Earth in a Gibor, Gabriel, Jabrail and by a male Joseph, implanted in her by the Holy or Pure Spirit for the reptoid seed to be carried on. This seed was called Emmanuel. Matthew 1:18-23 as it says, for that seed which is conceived in her is of the pure ghost. Holy means pure in Hebrew, ghost means spirit in Hebrew. The craft was sighted by Mesopotamian priest Magi, who followed it to where the seed was. Originally, they were from Egypt, Arabia, Persia. They came to confirm the reptoid was born a god in flesh. A flesh-eating of El of the Elohim, who called his father and his god Eli my own El, Matthew 27:46, who left him. He said, I am not of this world, I am from above, John 8:23, and his spiritual father was in Orion, Matthew 6:9, where you see heaven in the Greek it is Strong's number 3772. This is their Yeshua, Yasua, Isus, Isa, Jesus. Jah-Jesus, who was born to deliver them up to the Elohim, gods. He ate meat, flesh John 21:5 Luke 24:41. So SABAT-U Sabians, most who follow the religions of Adamites and the covenant of flesh-eaters, don't really know what is meant by living in the blood of Christ, by his blood. Symbolic of wine, blood, bread, flesh, or that their gods, angels were in fact flesh-eaters. Genesis 18:1-8 came down to kill people in Sodom but stopped to eat the flesh of a calf with Abraham, who was a Mesopotamian named Ibruam. He made the covenant Genesis 17:1-14 with the Almighty God, so it was called the covenant of the flesh, and the way to attract their God was by much blood. As you read 1 Kings 18:28, 27-28. These Israelite, Jacobites of Hebrew seed cried out to their Elohim, but they did not come, so Elijah Yahweh said, cry aloud and cut themselves after their manner with knives and lancets, till the blood gush out upon them. Read 1 Kings 18:27. So, you see, to attract their Elohim they had to cut open their flesh, so that their blood gushed out on them. Why is that? Look back at Leviticus chapter 1-10 and you see their Elohim loved the smell of offerings, sacrifices of flesh and blood. He smells it. If you look back 1 Kings 18:24, it is how to call on Elohim, Baal or Yahweh, and that is by killing animals. Verse 25. To dress it, as you see in Genesis 18:7, as Abraham did for this God and two angels. To eat, dress it means prepare it, cut it up, skin it, that is blood. Flesh, as in Genesis 8:20-21, the Lord smelled a sweet savor. Leviticus 4:16. So blood, flesh on altars was the covenant made with these Elohim, who ate flesh, even humanoids which they had made. This is the same seed of the Quran 3:33, same God's Elohim. Hebrew is Al-Zalihad, in Arabic Quran Alice. And who is behind this and why? My beloved, fear not, they prefer the white meat, not the dark. Like pig is the other white meat. They made them in the image of the Mukmahu Pleiadians, not you who are from Nibiru, divine ones, pure black seed. The dark meat is not what they chose to rape and breed with. Genesis 6:1-4 and books of Enoch, as well as books of Jubilees and Sumerian stone tablets and others they hide from you. It is all about their seed, from Adam to Muhammad to Joseph Smith, their last hope, Mormonism, which they rejected and killed their religion. Enslaved them mentally by blind faith. Those Kamahu Pleiadians who protected their own, who were being used as food by the Za'afu reptiles, of Draco or Dragon or Dragula. The Reptoid tried to help and guide them, but they rejected Daganu over and over for Za'afu reptiles. Evil Za'afu are Muzafu, good Daganu are Mudganu. The Tananu Draconians have or had up to the year 2000 AD, an evil, wicked agenda. In order to survive here on this planet, they had to create what you know as one of the groups of alien greys as their slave species, cloned as a source of nutrition. As the Tanan Draconians' empire continued to grow and expand from planet to planet, they had problems. They are many in number, which made the small greys weary of being drained. So the Mudganu reptoids came and freed them from the reptilians. The reptile cloned them to use their negative energies, as this is what they must eat. As their offspring, these past 6,000 years the seed of Adam must eat flesh with each meal 3 times a day. Do as their overlords, kill to eat, raise animals to eat. As you read in Genesis 4:2-4, their Yahweh of Elohim taught them to raise animals for offering to them to eat. But a Mudganu reptoids Enki told them, don't eat flesh. Genesis 3:17, eat of the ground all your life. In Genesis 1:29-30, both Adamites and creature should not eat flesh, only herbs. But after the flood his brother Enlil said, you may kill and eat flesh. After what Enki had said, Genesis 9:3, Enlil says eat meat, Genesis 9:4. Yet they feared these Adamites, now mixed with Nephilim, will eat and kill them. So you read Genesis 9:4-7, you don't kill each other, but only I will require it. Pursuit, inquire, require, search, darash, seek. So, the Elohim can require human flesh or animal, but they should not require another. This is after Cain killed Abel. So, they were made as food to be eaten by their makers, but after mixing their DNA with the Nephilim, their offspring did start to kill and each other. 1 Enoch 7:11-14, Jubilee 5:1-3. And they feared being attacked and killed and eaten by their own creation, so they made laws, religious laws, in books from tablet by Tammuz in Ezekiel 8:12-14, Inanna, Ishtar, daughter of Nan-Nar. So once the Greys were freed and returned to Orion's belt in Zeta, they were used to help teach humanoids. So, the revolving of the Greys led to their freedom from consumptive bondage of their makers, the Draconian Reptilians. They left their captors for Orion's belt, beneath the center sun, but then bereft of their evil energized clone slaved Greys, the Muzafu Reptilians desperately needed a new source, or to return to eating Pa Mukmahu the Pleiadians, for evil nutrition. So, they set out in their mighty but evil fleet of crafts. Psalm 68:17, 20,000 crafts, chariots, and thousands of them came to earth, after seeking other planets that had populations on which they could feed. However, the energies were not evil, so they came up with a plan 8,500 years ago about this planet. The very first attempts to breed failed. Then around 6,000 years ago Enki himself Gen 1 to 2 came down being part reptilian or a reptoid. He terraformed this planet and set out to make a new creature, Genesis 1:26-27. Later his brother Enlil made sure that evil was in their seed, Genesis 6:1-5, and among them was also cannibalism as read in 2 Kings 6:28-29, Leviticus 26:29, Deuteronomy 2:20, 4:10, Jeremiah 19:9 and Revelation 19:16-18. So there was food and gold on earth, but the reptoids of Enki or the Dingir would always step in and try to guide mankind. The Adamite race of ruddy people, the white meat that both the Mukmahu Pleiadians and Muzafu reptilians love to abduct and eat. People today say he or she has gone missing, just up and gone, never to be seen again. Well, in the cinema the fourth kind, it is laid out for them and even speak in Sumerian to let all know who they are that are taken, Kakasu Caucasoids. The Pa-Mudganu the reptoids were benevolent and good-spirited. They are highly advanced yet peaceful reptilian humanoids who also shapeshift, can look black or pale. All who took part agreed not to mix with the seed of Pa-Najru the Divine Ones and the Nagaru Salal the Negroid race. This was much later violated by the Kakasu Caucasoids, and now you have mixed Caucasoid Negroids called Neutronoids, yet they belong only to the Nagaru Salal Negroid race. Whether they accept that DNA a fact or not. Remember, in order for the Nephilim to mix with Adamites women Genesis 6:1-5 they must have had the same amount of chromosome 46. The reptilian did not have the same, but the Mukmahu Pleiadians did have 46 chromosomes but also caused leprosy in Earth and all other diseases. However, far more important to the Dragonians were the indigenous tides of the planet because of this thing called Ba soul, which they do not have. Yet they can only get to the soul if the Nagaru Negroids will offer it to them of their own free will. That was why religions over were watered down to meet what each race thinks will help them in life and after. So, to willingly accept the Abrahamism religions is to welcome the reptilians to your soul. Once in, you seem to become blind to all facts and truth in what is belief and faith to unseen force you give whichever name. So you offer your soul just as they show in their cinemas of Dracula. A person has to welcome Dracula into their home or lives the same as done in religions of Abraham. Mitzvah, Mosesism, Baptism, Jesusism, Shahadat, Mohammedism. You offer your very soul to them, which they can't claim until you're dead and out of the flesh, so you can regain it before then. They set a plan in motion to use their offspring Adamites to utilize the human population on earth as the source for their evil energy nutrition Genesis 6:5. They first needed to eliminate the facts with faith for their religious and or political agenda and manipulate the human races by way of the evil minds of the Adamite race and those who by mixing accept them or think they are accepted by them. So, 6,000 years ago or 4,000 BC, the plan was in place to make a devil race weak and wicked to rule and have dominion for only 6,000 years, then return to take them off the planet to be food, called the rapture John 4:32-35. The 4 months is the 4,000 years before 2,000 years ago, or from 4,000 BC to 2,000 AD, Genesis 1:26-27. However, SABAT-U Sabians, they were not obedient to their maker and even ate their own children. Became flesh eaters, luster of all other races, when it was stated before them, in the Grand Council Psalm 82 1-8, they could not agree Psalm 83 1-7, so this new seed of Adamites rebelled over and over in their holy books, Bible and Quran, and other lusts are hidden from you. Their end has come in 2000 AD, you see them falling as you read in the book Revelation 18 and 19, and many of the Nagaru Negroid Salal race have given their souls over to them by way of religions, and you can't tell them otherwise, right wisdom or the true past. Now stop and think, SABAT-U Sabians, ask yourself as you look around, who gave the Caucasoid race authority? Who says they can make laws, govern, imprison, kill, war, and tax you? Who says they have authority over you in any way at all? Think, you must have accepted that race as your authority. Why? Do you welcome these Dracularites into your lives at all? Break the spell of ignorance now before it is too late. End their story. History, his story. Nuwapians, look around you. They have been telling their religious salvation story for thousands of years. Each time changed a little, but the end results is the same. They keep saying it will come, but it does not come, so they made it come in the form of books, stories and cinemas. They created their lies, and once they see nothing happens each time, next they say, well, he Jesus or Messiah is coming soon. Be they Mosites or Jesuit or Mohammedites, they repeat over and over soon, but their soon never comes and never will come. So, they make it come by books like Left Behind, then make those books into cinema to make them feel it happened. Same with other groups of Abrahamites. The truth is they live a lie. A fiction, legends made up by them. Only hopes called faith and beliefs, and they live and die suffer, as all others. Each time there is a good result they say thank God, but if it's bad they say nothing. A child dies a car crash or plane, families die in war, who do they thank then? But if things go well, they thank an unseen, unfelt, unheard source. Time to wake up from their lies they created, so other races worship and fear them. It is time to take back your lives. It is time to take back your souls. It is time to take back your authority. It is time to take back your freedom. It is time to take back your children. It is time to take back your future. It is time to remember your great past. It is time to clean yourself inside out and outside and of his authorities, in all ways in your life. Give him back his image. Give him back his likeness. Give him back his languages. Give him back his religions. Give him back his evil, wicked way of living. Their time of dominion is up as of the year 2000 AD, or A, Adams, D, dominion. It is over for them. Watch as they fade out world over, first loss of respect, then lost of fear, then lost of trust. Their plot and plan failed. Nuwapians, you have the actual facts, now take them to the world. Wake up people, break the spell, now or never. I came, I taught, I will depart. You have the medicine to cure the sick world of their disease. Fact fiction, truth lies, ontology theology, astronomy astrology, fate faith. Much has been hidden over the past 6,000 years, and after the great crash when the planet was split into two parts, the one half was to become terraformed. Terraformed by the Anunnaqi responsible for this crash event. As recorded in given record, Jeremiah 4:23-28. And terraformed by 50 scientists who was selected to repair the Kawak planet, 25 males and 25 females from Nibiru, which was ruled by and called Anu, the highest one, who chose his own son, Ea, to head up this project. He was given the title Nutamute, and the 50 scientists were dispatched from Nibiru, the mother plane craft, for Orion school for foreigners of many star systems. There to master the nature of the healed planet they called Eridu. That was to be terraformed or bring the solid from the deep waters. 50 scientists in all, the females headed by Ninmah, half-sister of Ea, she became Nin Harsag and later 90. He became Nutamute and later Enki. He was given a smaller Kabod craft as the first to depart Aldebar Aldebaran. His pilot was Kulla and first lieutenant. Their first stop off was Sirius, then across the stone-filled Milky Way to Lama Mars, next onto the dark side of the moon, Kingu, and finally onto Chi, also called Tiamat. He, Ea, which means he who is of the abode of water, as his mother Nimel, by father Anu, was reptilian of Alalu's family, his sister in fact. So Ea or Enki was half reptilian and could live on land and in the deep waters. His Kabod craft came near the deep, water-covered planet to cool it, and he, Enki, as master of Chi Earth, hovered, as you find in Earth's record, Genesis 1:2. The title given in time was El of the Elohim or Enki of the Anunnaqi, once they all arrived on Earth after he terraformed it, Genesis 1:3-19. We lived beneath the deep before he came, as we lived here before the planet was split up in two. We watched him from beneath the waters. As he terraformed the planet bring forth dry land, for the others to arrive in a cylinder craft 30 feet by 15 feet, each containing 10 in all. Each containing 10 of them except for one which had 9 passengers, for Enki had already come. Once the planet was terraformed, 200 others were allowed to follow them. Alalu was already on Chi, in South America. He built a great city, later called Pumapunku, where he bred human and alien species until Alalu received word of Enki's landing. Who he could speak with to seek forgiveness for his acts on Nibiru against Anu, as Alalu tried to kill Anu and take his rulership. When this failed, and by way of votes of the council, Alalu was to be killed. So Alalu and his family departed Nibiru for Lama Mars onto Kingu, the satellite moon structure, then Tiamat Earth to live beneath the waters. He finally met with Enki in South America as a deity. Before all those he created and bred, he made an offering to Enki, his own daughter Damkina, who Enki later renamed Ninki, when he accepted her. In turn, Enki was to speak on behalf of Alalu, before Anu and the councils on Nibiru to make peace. Enki spoke of all the gold Alalu found on Chi Earth and all the building of Atlantis, Pumapunku, and other cities and species created. So Anu and his other son Enlil, who was also called Numner, came down to Earth to visit and see all that Alalu had done. Yet, he sent Enki to ask his new father-in-law, who gave him the right to play deity and do these things out of jealousy. So Anu, who listened to Enlil's jealous advice, disagreed with Alalu's works and ego. Enki became angry with his half-brother Enlil for this, and the war that broke out, upon which Pumapunku was destroyed, and Alalu with his family departed Tiamat Earth to return to Lama Mars. There he stayed, and built colonies, and later died. The conflicts between Enlil, master of the heavens, and Enki, master of earth, was from then on known as conflict of the gods. Each claimed both heaven and earth their own. as the one and only true God. SABAT-U let no one fool you about date and the times. They did not use zeros back then. No ciphers mean the number 10, could be 100 or 1000 or 10,000. So don't be fooled by dated numbers. They don't know and will lie and pretend they do. Always remember this conflict of their gods, how it affects your life and learning. Most of what they have taught over 6,000 years from 4000 BCE, is lies to hide their true making and unnatural nature. They were recorded in their records as created, Genesis 1:26-27, then upgraded in Genesis 2:7-8, then cloned Genesis 2:21-24. Sometime later, others came down to Tiamat Earth, the Igigi, and Lil's followers, called in their records Nephalu Nephilim, giant, fallen ones, Genesis 6:4, who was in fact children of Anunnaqi, called the sons of gods, Genesis 6:1-3. They came and watched, the humanoids enjoying each other sexually and they became aroused, Genesis 6:21, 1 Enoch 6-7-8. It was 200 that came down and raped the humanoid women, 1 Enoch 7-1-10, 1 Enoch 9-5-14, as well as the book of Jubilees 4:15, and Jubilees 5-1-10. So, these Igigi or Nephalu Nephilim, giant fallen ones, are translated as giants because the first earth humanoids were females, 4 feet 5 inches and males 5 feet 4 inches, and these Nephalu beings were 7 to 9 feet tall, so the humanoids saw them as giants in the earth in those days. The creatures they, the Elohim, Al-Haadi, Anakim, or Anunnaqi, made by way of their own DNA was called Adamites. They came out like them in their image, but also like Igigi, Uriim in nature as you read in Genesis 4-5, wickedness and evil. The Anunnaqi were very sad. The Igigi mixed with these Enosites of Adamites and birthed this mud Wu-Sabat evil race of blush, reddish, ruddy, pink, pale, race of Kakasu. As you read Genesis 6:6, this Lord Yahweh was Enlil, for what his children did on earth again without consulting with him or his father, El Elyon, the Most High El, or An, or Anu. So, they wanted to destroy the Adamites, Cainites, Sethites, and Enosites in that part of Tiamat Earth, Mesopotamia. They wanted to drown them all, yet Enki stepped in to save one family, because they had a leader, Yaa-Nun Noah, who had pure genes, Genesis 6:9-11. Yaa-Nun Noah was with Enki, not Enlil, who saved him and his own family, Genesis 6:12-22. So you had Enlil and Enki, both speak of the removal of humankind in that part of the Kawak planet. But, Enki had a plan to save Yaa-Nun Noah and his family, Genesis 6:18-22, because he obeyed these Elohim gods. Their Kabod craft landed in what is called Turkey today and moved afterward to Lebanon, originally named after Laban, which is the original name of Canaan, the fourth son of Ham, Genesis 9:18. This son Canaan is pointed out here from his brothers, because he was born an albino because of Ham's actions and later cursed with leprosy, Genesis 9:25. The father of the Kaanu Canaanites, the Caucasoid second seed race from reddish to pale white lepers, Leviticus 13:1-59, which describe what they transformed into from ruddy, Leviticus 13:2. You see Adam for man, ruddy, Hebrew Strong's number 120, then white and yellow thin fur from black nappy hair, Leviticus 13:10 and Leviticus 13:30-32, and spots and freckled, Leviticus 13:38-39. They are unclean, Leviticus 13:44. Don't mix or marry with the Canaanites, Genesis 24:3, Genesis 28:1-9. But Hebrew Israelites did not obey. They did mix their seed and then spread their diseased seed with all others world over. Then, after the gates opened by Wiccans taught by Igigi, Uriim, sorcerers, these beings came to earth by the thousands as you read, Psalm 68:14-18. They became known as cherubim, their leaders were cherub, Psalm 18:4-10, Ezekiel 28:13-17. He is the Yahweh of the Elohim or cherubim, Genesis 3:22-24, who gave them 6,000 years to rule earth and creature, Genesis 1:26-28, gives them genetic knowledge on how to open up and operate on humans and animals, Genesis 2:21-22. How to cut open flesh, change, alter, clone and craft creatures into hybrids of many kinds, even plants and fruits genetically altered. Wu-Sabat may ask, why did they give them such powers? To perfect their being, that is before much corruption mankind lived a very long life like their makers, Genesis 5:1-32, note how long Adamites lived. Noah, the last because he was perfect in genes or generation, Genesis 6:9. The seeds after did not live as long and the Anunnaqi gave them implants, radios in their head so they could give them inner vision to create things invented. But as their DNA weakened by the disease of Baris leprosy, the curse of Canaan, they were cut off in their original soul, Ruach of Genesis 1:2. Hebrew Strong's number 7307, was cut off, they lost their souls. Their makers wanted them perfect again as they saw themselves, or in their image, after their likeness, Genesis 1:26-27. To become perfect again or become Elohim, gods again as Adam and Eve did, Genesis 3:5. As they did live a long time and did not die that day, Genesis 3:22, Genesis 2:17. He was an Elohim but fell from grace and became forgetful, Genesis 4:25-26, Enos forgetful mortal, and had to call outside his head for help from Yahweh, Gen 4:26. No longer an Elohim but a mortal, Enos forgot his true past and link. Enlil and his sons Nannar and Ninurta wanted them perfected again as Elohim, being they did not destroy them all. So they would live longer to serve him and his father Anu. They gave them a set date of life and they taught them genetics to mix and breed with Nagar-Yu, Drivju, and Magalo to perfect their being, bodies. To become an Elohim again, they were to test until they could live up to 120 years. If they accomplished that, they would get transported as did the one they tested on called in their records Moshe, Moses, Musa, Exodus 7:1. He was made from mortal to Elohim, God. Then when it became time for him to die like a man, Psalm 82:1-8, repeated by Jesus in John 10:34-36, sanctified as Kodesh, Kudus made holy pure, an El of the Elohim. So Moses was transfigured as Elijah and Jesus, Matthew 7:1-3. All three did not die but was taken up, became Emmanuel, Isaiah 7:14 and Matthew 1:23, El with us, God with us, an Elohim. And the age of one of them was to reach was 120 years, Genesis 6:3, to overpower his flesh. So, you read of the example, Moses Exodus 7:1 then Deuteronomy 34:5-7. They did not know what happened to Moses, they left him on the mount, as you read in Jude 1:9. They did not find the body of Moses, he was 120 years old and had become an Elohim transfigured, the example for all of them to seek to repair themselves. In the Quran it is repeated many times, as in the Quran chapter 103 originally 13th, you see in verse 3 the word, as Salihat. So, they also were once taught about perfecting or repairing their lives to live to 120 years and they would be taken up or offered everlasting life, life eternal, not die as Jesus told them. He said he is from above, John 8:21-23, you will die. I will return above or to, Greek Strong's number 507, Anya which is Anu. He told them his father was in Orion, heaven. There he said are many mansions or star systems as you see on the star map with 7 brightest suns. As he said, and the Quran repeats, 7 heavens. So, they were given a chance to a clean inside out and outside in but they disobeyed, so they are marked 666, 6 etheric beings after they failed in 1914 AD. Hitler was chosen to perfect their race after the 1914 failure by those of Al-Dabar or Al-Dabaran, but he failed too, by 1943. To this day they seek to upgrade their physical body by all kinds of genetic operations as well as cloning and operations. Transplants to live up to the age of 120. They were supposed to be cleaned inside out, outside in, genes perfected before the year 1914 AD, but they got close, so they were granted an 86-year extension up to the year 2000, no later than 2003. But when they returned, all the councils, yet more failure. So in 2000 AD their time ended and many were raptured or taken to be food. They were told they will return again and in 2013 AD, the seed of Adam's son, Enos, and Nas still did not succeed yet now they die much older than in the 1900s at ages of 30-40s, now it's up to ages of 70-90s. But they did not reach perfection 120 years. So he is no longer going to judge them Dayan, Din, Hebrew Strong's number 1777, Genesis 6:3, because of their love of the flesh, lust and desire. They did not do as Moses or Jesus, they failed and Nagar-Yu and the others who live their way of life will be taken just as they have, Revelation 19:16-21. Where? On to Nibiru to become food, the great and dreadful day of the Lord, Revelation 21:1-27. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad has already come. Now Malachi is here with the healing in his wings, crafts, Malachi 4:2-5.